Well, welcome back, everyone. Lights, camera, action. It's Make Our World Your Runway. You know, this is the weekly show that interviews the most fascinating individuals from the world of modeling, fashion, pageantry, beauty, the entertainment industry, and even the business industry. And as always, we have a very exciting show planned for you today that I really think you're going to enjoy. But of course, we always like to thank the sponsors that make the show so possible every week. And that is the Global Trade Chamber, 100 Successful Women in Business, Lux Salon, the Clean Beauty Network, Tower Club, Royal Dames, Vita Designs, Casa Calabria, and the Bangladesh American Chamber of Commerce. So sponsors, thank you so much for making this show possible. And as I always like to tell my viewers, remember to subscribe to the Global Trade Chamber YouTube channel so that you can see all the shows from Make Our World Your Runway and Success Stories. And I highly recommend our viewers to also tune in to Success Stories because this show features the most amazing women in the world of business and community service. From their humble beginnings to becoming successful entrepreneurs, these women will totally inspire you. So once again, remember to subscribe to the Global Trade Chamber YouTube channel so you can see all the shows from Success Stories and Make Our World Your Runways. And of course, as I like to tell everyone, get ready for some exciting conferences, speakers, awards, as 100 Successful Women in Business and the Global Trade Chamber are going to come to a city near you. And that next city happens to be Tampa, Florida, which is going to take place on July 17th of this year. It's going to be at the Embassy Suites Hotel, which is located at 513A Florida Avenue in Tampa, Florida. Now, I like to tell my viewers, these shows are free. They're absolutely fabulous. It's a great way to get to know other businesses, promote your businesses, but please remember to register as soon as possible because take it from me, these shows are a sellout. Now, if you want to be a speaker or you also want to be an exhibitor, there's opportunities there for you as well. So you can go to a couple of different websites, and also we're going to give you a number to call to get further information. You can go to www.globaltradechamber.com, www.100swb.com, or you can dial 954, it looks like 839-8866 for all the information. So once again, please register early. It is a free event, but there's great opportunities still available to become a speaker and exhibitor, and we hope to see you there. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get on to our show today. We have a fabulous guest waiting for us, okay? And she happens to be the current reigning Miss International World Canada, and she's also a compassionate community leader, dedicated lawyer professional, and teacher. She has overcome a congenital heart condition. Oh, this does sound familiar. And she embodies strength and resilience and all that she does. So without further ado, I'm going to let her tell you about all the wonderful things that she does. So please welcome Miss Itisha Chowdhury, Miss International World Canada, to Make Our World Your Runway. So welcome, my dear.
Well, thank you, Angela, for the wonderful introduction. I'm extremely honored to be here, yes, everything that you said, indeed, I am those things. So I'm extremely proud at the same time of my achievements, and thanks to Miss International World Canada that I get to wear this crown and this sash and represent Canada. Another, achievement where I'm extremely proud of representing Canada. I will be performing soon in September for the new pageant for the final competition for Miss International World. So yeah, I'm extremely excited for that, and a lot of preparation is going on for that as well, along other projects that I'm working on right now. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's very exciting. And when I just read something, okay, because you and I have something in common. I have a little bit of a different heart condition, but you overcame congenital heart condition. That's tough. I mean, how did they find that on you? What were your symptoms?
So I was born with a hole in my heart. And at birth, my mom was extremely sick, and she was told not to keep me. But my parents did not listen, and thank God that they didn't, because I'm here alive today and standing in front of you. So yeah, my parents did not listen. They decided to keep me. She went with the hardest pregnancy that anyone can't imagine, because it was extremely hard on her, from what I understand. And right at birth, I was told that I'm going to die, because my condition, and I wasn't breathing, so all of that. So my parents did go through a lot as well, and then I kept surviving. I just kept going on, and I was born in Bangladesh, by the way, and over there the treatments weren't that advanced. So in order for my parents to treat me, they would have to bring me here, but I couldn't fly, because if I flew, then with the blood clot and everything, like I wouldn't survive. So they ended up taking me to India, which is in Bangalore in India. But there's like a lot of story behind it, obviously, because they couldn't treat me right away, and all the treatment procedure and everything, I had to be on a list and everything. So considering all of that, it took me longer than the operation was supposed to happen. So I didn't get operated until I was 5 years old. So from birth till 5 years old, I was extremely sick. And all I remember, I don't have a lot of memories of my childhood, because I was extremely sick. And all I remember is, I have memories of me throwing up blood and everything. So I was extremely, extremely sick. And from what I understand, and from the stories that my mom tells me, that she used to keep me on her chest, and she used to just have her fingers over my nose just to see that if I'm still breathing.
Breathing, yes.
Yeah. And then after my operation, everything just, worked out for me. I survived. I'm alive. I'm in front of you guys. Again, wearing this crown and this sash. It's and representing Canada, which I'm so grateful. I wake up every morning and I tell myself that today is another day, and it's a grateful day. I mean, it's a great day, and I'm extremely blessed to be here. So, yeah.
Yeah, you know what? You have a very, very powerful story. That is a very great incentive for women that want to get into, the pageant, because there's so many people out there that do have health conditions. And I applaud you, because, all right, your parents, they did, I'll tell you my story in a minute, what my mother did, but they did exactly what should have been done. They didn't listen to anybody. They kept you. They made sure that you got that operation, you could go on. But the Global Trade Chamber, and part of the Global Trade Chamber is 100 Successful Women in Business. That's a powerful story. I hope Marie's listening for 100 Successful Women in Business, because you overcame something. Okay. And a lot of people, believe it or not, with heart conditions, and I could name a million of them, they want to give up. And you cannot give up. You got to keep going on. And, even maybe back when you were born, and I'm going ancient history, when I was born, in 53, they didn't know much back then. But today, the technology is unbelievable. I'll give you an example. They had to go in. I have stents. I have 3 stents in one artery in my heart. They had to go back in this February to check the stents to make sure what was going on, because I had gone through some surgery last year. I just want to make sure. Now, in 2007, when I had my heart attack, when they did a catheterization, oh my God, it was 90 minutes. They put this clamp on your leg, because they go through the vein, and you'd have to lie still for 6 hours. And oh my God, if you moved, you could get a blood clot. Today, you're lucky you're on the table for 20 minutes, and all you get is a Band-Aid and a groin, that's it. And 5 hours later, I was walking out of the hospital. The technology, now I have to stay on a statin to lower cholesterol for my heart. I don't take a pill anymore. Every other week, I give myself a needle in my leg. And it's not a regular needle. It doesn't even hurt. To look at it, it just looks like a plastic tube, but when you press on it, these little tiny needles come out, 1, 2, 3. Less than 3 seconds, you hear the click, you take it out, that's it. Even open heart surgery today, they don't more cut in the chest. They go right under the arm. That's it. So the technology. Now, see, I was born with a different type of heart condition. I was born what they call mitral valve prolapse, where that valve doesn't exactly connect to the heart, and the blood kind of skips, so you can have fibrillation. Okay,
Right.
but luckily, as I said, as time went on, and the cardiologist I have today, he's amazing. Okay, if I scratch my finger, he's like, "Oh my God, we got a problem." He's unbelievable. Okay, and I give him a lot of credit because through COVID and for what I went through last year, he kept me alive. Okay, but I don't give up. I'm like you. I said, okay, you know what? I know what I have. I know what I need to do. That's now. What's the next step? Okay. The next step is driving in my car, doing this, doing that. Because if I sit here all day and I think about it, well, then I might as well get that pine pops because it's not going, I'm not going to go anywhere. But what makes me feel better is that the technology today, okay, like heart condition you had and what I have, my cousin was born with the same thing. They did operate on him, and he was more in modern times. So again, operations are different. I had a friend of mine, to give you an example, just had a hip operation. She was home in a matter of hours. I had a hip operation. I had to stay in the hospital 3 days. And that was going back in 2015. So you see, from 2015 to 2026, look at how technology has changed.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So to look at you, I would never know you had a congenital heart condition. Okay.
Well, I do have a huge scar though. Like I have a scar that starts here, right below my neck, all the way to my.
You can't even see it.
You can't really see it unless I talk about it. But when I was younger, it was very extremely visible and noticeable. So my parents had offered me to do plastic surgery. They were asking me, I think, how old was I believe I was 7 or 8 years old. They had given me the option to do a surgery just to, get rid of the scar. And at that age, I said, no, I don't want to. This is my pride, and I'm alive, and this reminds me every single day that I am extremely grateful to be here, and there is a purpose for me, and I'm trying my best. I'm working and I'm doing as much as I can. So yeah, just going back at what you said about the injection. So there's a little dent on my hip. If I wear tight dresses, it shows. Sometimes when I wear those beautiful gowns, it shows. And I used to be extremely insecure of that dent. But the dent was because I used to get almost about 50 injections per month.
Whoa.
Per month at the age of like 2 or 3. Just so I can stay alive, because they couldn't operate me, so that injection was keeping me alive. Yes. And from one leg, one hip to another hip, they had to go because that hip was too damaged, too dented.
Yeah.
So then they had to go on the other one. So I actually have dented hips on both sides, but one is more than the other. So yeah, no, the technology has definitely changed, because I do hear a lot of heart conditions like such as mine whenever I go on stage, or when I do public appearances. People, kids, children, parents, they all come up to me and they tell me their kid's story, and when I see them and compare my surgery, they the technology has made it so good for them. You don't even see that they went through a surgery, versus where I have a huge line. Yeah.
No, exactly. And something that I'm going to do, I did it this past February, which was Heart Month, and there's she's a commissioner. She's running again, Jacqueline Guzman, here at Sunrise. What an amazing lady. Okay. She's a 2-time heart attack survivor. Okay. Oh. She didn't even think she was going to survive the first one, and when she had the second one. And she did a fabulous fashion show at the Sawgrass Mills Mall. And this was, everybody in the show had some sort of heart condition. They had a woman that got up and said she had 10 stents. I said, oh my God, I only have 3. This one's got 10. But there were so many people out there, and she belongs to this organization, Heart Sisters, which works with the American Heart Association. I'm going to tell her about you. And I know she's going to do another fashion show next year. You should definitely get in that show. I've already told her I will be back in. And you'd be surprised the support that she gets. But the stories that you hear, I mean, the last catheterization I had, which was back in February, my doctor told me, he said, you must be a miracle. I said, why? He said, because you got 19 years out of your stents. He says, and that's almost a rarity. He said, most people, they only get, he says, maybe 3 to 5 years, and we have to go back in and kind of replace them. He said, but you at 19 years, he said, what are you doing? I said, well, there is a little trick, proper exercise. He said, yeah, which I've always done. You know, I ride, I don't do anything excessive, but I lift light weights, but I ride the treadmill. I don't pick it all the way up. I keep it low. You know, about 15, 20 minutes a day, or I'll walk around. I'll do like a mile around the building. And that does strengthen the heart. Okay. So, but you've got an amazing story. And like I said, it's not only for just people that have had this type of condition, but women that are coming into pageants. Okay. They need to hear this, because there's a lot of women out there that, not even with what you have and what I have, they just want to give up, regardless of what the situation is. And when they hear something like this, they'll say, you know what? If she could do it, I can do it.
I can do it. Yeah, I've had a lot of people telling me that. And sorry to interrupt, Angela. Just I wanted to tell you another part of my life, which I believe you're not aware, and not a lot of people are aware of this. But that's also something that I feel that can be talked about, because us as women, we go through so many things, so many different things that we don't talk about. We don't, or more like we don't talk enough about. So yeah, the surgery was one thing, and again, like just to go back to what you were saying, I was also told that the fact that I'm alive is a miracle, because when I go do my examination, like, to test if everything is okay and intact, I have nurses telling me, are you sure you had a surgery? I'm like, yes. Why? You don't see the big scar? And they're like, everybody that had this surgery, we go through, the inside, and there's always a little stitch or like something that shows, but mine, I don't have anything. So from the inside, it's so well done, my surgery, that you don't even see that I had a surgery. You only know because you know my history, and you can see the big scar in the front, but otherwise. So yeah, I always get told that I'm actually lucky that I'm alive. So that's one thing. And the other thing that I wanted to mention is about my surgery that I had last year. I had an ovary surgery last year, beginning of last year. So I was told that I have a cyst in one of my ovaries, and it was the size of a grapefruit.
Oh, jeez.
Like not a grapefruit, but more like a medium-sized grapefruit, and it might be cancerous. So over 6 months, I had to switch my life completely. I had to rediscover myself, because I'm like, if it's cancerous, what do I do? I had to go through all of that. And, sometimes I'm grateful for the medical support that we have here in Canada, but the appointments takes forever, to see a doctor or to get a result. So, every time I used to go in to see my doctor, I would have to wait 3-4 weeks. And those 3-4 weeks used to be extremely miserable for me, because I don't know what's going on. And my hospital was at the cancer patient hospital. It wasn't even a regular hospital. So every time I would go in, I would see cancer patients, just wishing for another day. And there I was. I don't know why life brought me there, but I was there, So it has taught me a lot in my life also during that whole process and the experience that I went through, and maybe that's why I'm even more grateful for life. Anyway, long story short, I did get my surgery last year in January, and the cyst was removed. And now I have only one ovary. I don't have two. And when the cyst was removed, even then the doctor couldn't tell me. So the surgery was supposed to be 12 hours. This is how big the surgery was. And then they made it to 6 hours. But then they said that, there's something else that they discover inside, which I have endometriosis. I don't know if you've heard of that. A lot of, and it's very common nowadays, Angela.
Very common.
In women.
Very common.
Every time I talk about it, somebody's already relating to that. They're like, oh, I have also. But for me, everything is brand new. Like, I didn't even know that exists, and I would not even find out that I have a cyst if I didn't do the proper checkup. and I would live
Yeah.
with it. And a lot of women nowadays are doing that, and it's very
Yes.
common, extremely common. Every time I'm talking to a woman, they're all saying, yeah, I know this person, I know that person has the same thing. And I'm like, wow, and I had no idea what a cyst in an ovary even looks like, when I was told. So just going back to what I was saying, anyway, so the surgery went well. The doctor couldn't tell me that if it was cancerous or not right away, right after they removed, because they had to do some extra tests. They had to get through it. And after 2 months, so again, I had to wait 2 months to find out if it was really cancerous or not. Because even if it was cancerous, then there's a different procedure of treatment, because the
There
cells
is.
needs to come out, and et cetera, et cetera. So finally, I'm so grateful. I was told that it's not cancerous. And
Perfect.
and that day was extremely fun for me, to be honest, because I booked myself a solo trip right away. Went away for a week.
I don't blame you. It's funny. Geez, I mean, somewhere along the line, maybe we're related or we're sisters, because I went through a lot last year. And when you said the size of the grapefruit, that's the kidney stone that I had. It was the size of a grapefruit.
Mm-hmm.
And the kidney doctor I had, he was amazing. He got this thing out. He was able to chisel it out without doing any cuts. They don't cut anymore. Years ago, they used to cut. He went in vaginally and he got that stone out. Okay,
Wow.
yeah, he got it. He got it all out in one shot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just it. It's the three little words you don't want to hear. You have cancer. This was not cancerous. Got it out. The kidney has been cleaned. No problems. I go to him now every 3 to 6 months. He makes sure, we check the white count and everything. And that's another thing that when you come here, we're going to start a fundraiser on it. But when you come here, I'm going to introduce you to the people that run the Royal Dames. That's why they are our charity of choice. The Royal Dames is an unbelievable group. It was started several years ago by 50 women, and every dollar they raise goes towards cancer research. I mean, I've checked them out. Every dollar they raise goes toward cancer research. In fact, they've done so much for cancer here, not only in Florida, but pretty much around the states, throughout the United States. They have an institute named for them at the Nova Southeastern University. It's called the RDI, Royal Dames Institute. Now they're even building a hospital here in their name, the Royal Dames Hospital, because they have done so much for people out of cancer and research. And even with cancer now, okay, I had a friend of mine that just had it, and within a matter of months, she rang the bell. She's cancer free. And Royal Dames, when you go to their site, I have that under there. The three words you don't want to hear: I have cancer, because you never know. I have a cousin right now that's been in remission for 15 years. Thank God. Okay, but that's why I say you have very powerful stories, because you are an inspiration to other pageant women that, or just women in general, that want to get out and do things, but feel, oh my God, I have this, I have that. Or you've got women that have gone through domestic violence, and they feel like, well, I cannot do this, or no. It's like people that say, well, and we did a fashion show over the weekend for Fort Lauderdale Swim Week. And what I like about working with Tina is that she has a saying: age is only a state of mind. It's she says, where icons bloom. Now, people look at me and I said, wait a minute. I said, it's up here. I said, you could be 90 years old. My mother at 94, God bless her soul, she passed away at 94. To look at her, people used to say to me, wait a minute, she's not 94. She can't be no more than 70. I said, oh, yeah? She was born in 1930. I said, she's 94. We used to call her the little old lady from Pasadena. 93 years old, she was still driving a car. Wow. At 94, she could get on that floor and scrub floors. Okay.
Wow, what a strong woman she was.
She challenged me on something. She chased me 2 years before she passed away. She chased me around the pool in the backyard with a broom. And she caught up to me. I said, my neighbors were laughing. I wish somebody would have filmed it. They were hysterical. She said, you think I still can't catch you? I said, yes. I said, you can. But she put in her mind that it was only a state of mind, okay? Yeah. She said, as long as I'm breathing and as long as I'm walking, I'm still going. And
I'm still going, yeah.
Yeah, and she was amazing. If it wasn't for World War II, she would have been in the Olympics. She was
Wow.
some athlete. She could have been a decathlon champion. She was a champion swimmer.
Mhm.
She was a championship bowler. She had gone on Wide World of Sports, ABC News. I mean,
Mhm.
she was unbelievable. And I think that's what kept her going. She took a lot of hard knocks in her life. And when you talk about your mother with pregnancy, back in
Yeah.
1953, they didn't know anything about breech babies. Okay, I was a breech baby.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of breech babies will come out with speech defects. Luckily, I didn't.
Mhm.
Okay, I still got that proverbial gifted gab. I didn't come out with that. But that they discovered that I had very bad allergies. I almost killed my mother as well. She got to spend almost 9 months in and out of the hospital with blood transfusions. I took all her energy, okay?
Wow.
And I wasn't a scrawny baby, okay? I mean, I was 7.5 pounds, 21 inches long. But the funniest thing was that when I left the hospital, you're going to laugh. Back then they kept women in for about a week and a half to make sure they were okay. 7.5 pounds, this little chunk butt over here was 14 pounds when she got out of the hospital. Because I was always so hungry, and I used to wake all the babies up in the nursery that they had to put food in my bottle.
Oh.
Yeah, most babies get that pablum or milk, but no, they had to put actual food. They had to ground it up, put it in my bottle because I was always hungry. So if you see pictures of me when I first came out of the hospital, you thought I was a year old because I was this chunky little thing. Okay.
You're so cute.
Yeah, I mean, I lost a lot of weight from that point to that. But yeah, but that was funny. But I took all my mother's energy.
Yeah.
But see, and the doctor then was sorry. He even said to my mother that he didn't do a cesarean. I mean, they got me to turn, and I was a breech baby, but she had a very difficult pregnancy. Okay, and that's where they figured back then they didn't know much. I was born with that mitral valve prolapse, and as you get older, that's a heart condition that when it comes out. But like I said, with technology today, they've got it under control. So last time I saw my cardiologist was about a month ago. And I told him, he said, "You having any breathing problems anymore?" I said, "No." I said, "Since you guys got me on the iron, I don't have any problems." I said, "Guess what, Doc?" I said, "I got a bridge that goes over the intercoastal. All I got to do is walk across the street." I said, "It's a 45-degree angle." I went up that bridge, no problem. Came down, went back up and came down. He said, "That's it. We don't have to do stress tests." He says, "Number 2. He said, if you can do that," he said, "you're in good condition." And he said, "I'll see you in 6 months." I went like this. "Goodbye, Doc." I started putting on in a pair of sneakers out of that room so fast. But he's the kind of person, he always says to me, "If you've got a problem, you can come in here the same day. You just call my nurse and we'll get you in." But no, you've done wonderful things. And I also see with all the things that you've done, you're a dedicated law professional.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
What kind of law do you practice?
I practice corporate law, corporate and tax, and I'm also a teacher. I teach paralegals at CDI College. Yes. Well, at the moment, I'm not teaching. I'm taking a break because, I'm involved in many things. So I told my students that I'll be back, but I'm not really sure when. But at the moment, I'm not teaching. But that's something that I started way before my pageantry. But Angela, before I go into all of that, I just wanted to, give my condolences for your mom. You were explaining how strong she was, and I see that in you. To be honest, I see how strong you are, how dedicated you are, and you are a motivation to me in many different ways. So yes, thank you for sharing your mother's story. It was really beautiful to hear, and may she rest in peace. But she definitely raised you well, and you are doing extremely well, and I look up to you.
Thank you.
So just wanted to say that. Yeah.
Thank you. But Mama, I'll tell you the truth. She's not resting in peace. I'll tell you a funny story. My cousin and I laugh about this all the time. I said, my mother was, if I didn't decorate by a certain time by Christmas, okay, and I decorated. I mean, people would come to my balcony and take pictures. I said, I just finished up with all the Christmas events. I'm going outside today to decorate. So this last Christmas when I went outside to decorate, that was one day where there was a storm that came into South Florida, a rare one. But it was clearing up. But it was a little chilly. But I have a balcony, so I said, I'll put my sweatshirt on. I said, I'll go out there. I said, I'll do as much as I can. The minute I started decorating that balcony, damn sun came out, the wind stopped, and it almost went up to 80 degrees, from 65
Wow.
to 80. I looked up, I said, that's it. She was wondering when I was going to decorate. I said, the balcony. I called on my cousin. I said, you're not going to believe this. I said, the gang up there was watching what we're doing. I said, because the minute I started decorating, I said, the sun. I said, it got hot. I said, just like normal South Florida. She says, don't feel so bad. She said, I shut the light in my curio cabinet, she said, the other night, just because I forgot to put one, she said, little picture of Santa Claus in there that my mother gave me. The light was on in the middle of the night. She said, I don't know how it's on there. She said, the minute I put that thing on, the light was out. I said, that's it. I said, they're up there watching everything.
Yeah, so you gotta behave.
Yeah, exactly. So if I know my mother and her sisters up there, they're like, all right, we're up there, but we're watching that gang down there because we know how they are. And I swear. But yeah, I have a lot of my mother's traits. You know, like I said, my father was a very strong person too. For all that he had wrong with him, he never gave up. I mean, you know, and he had no fear. My father, that was the thing, no fear. You could give him 20 needles in his arm, and he'd say, that's nothing. I used to look at him and go, come on, Dad. I said, nah, that's nothing. That's how he was. So I guess you could say, yeah, I got it from somebody.
Yeah, this trend, definitely. I mean, I'm noticing a lot of similarities between me and my mom, you know, my father right now. And as I'm getting older, you know, when I was a kid, and I think everybody can relate to this, when you're a kid, you know, when you're younger, like you don't like when your parents tells you what to do. But as you get older, you actually admire everything that they have taught you or they tell you to do, because that's basically how life is, you know. So yeah, I do see a lot of resemblance between me and my mom. And I wouldn't trade that for anything. I mean, she has definitely great qualities, and she's a very strong woman. She kept me alive. 35 years later, here I am, you know, doing what I love doing. I got into pageantry also because there are many reasons, but one of the main reason was, you know, I wanted to have a voice. I wanted to have a platform. I mean, I already have a voice, but I wanted to express my voice in a bigger platform. And I believe you know that already, that I had won a title previously before Miss International World Canada. I was Miss Canada South Asia. Yeah, so when I won that title, I wasn't really expecting it. I just went in to have fun and make new friends and, you know, make pageant sisters. And I had no idea of what pageantry looked like or what pageantry was, you know. So I just went in just, you know, just to enjoy, just to have fun, just to meet new people. And then I ended up winning the title and the crown. And then my life has changed ever since, you know, because I'm able to express myself. I'm able to tell people my story, and once I do that, I do that on bigger stages now. And once I come down from the stage, I always have people coming up to me, reaching out to me and telling me, wow, I'm really great, I'm happy that you're doing this. And you know, there's a lot of connection that I make with different people, which I really wanted to do to begin with. And I think what I wanted is finally working out for me. I still have a long way to go, I know that, but at least I'm doing something, you know, I'm doing something.
Well, we want to thank all our viewers for tuning in once again to Make Our World Your Runway. Today you have heard a very, very powerful story from Miss International World Canada, Itisha Chowdhury, and we will bring her back again. I'm sure she's going to have many other stories to tell, and we look forward to hosting her at our upcoming pageant in September. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Make Our World Your Runway, and we'll see you next week with a wonderful show. Have a great week.